All right. Some of you know me. Some of you can't obviously see me because my camera does not no longer works on this computer. But I'm Stephen Buller. Um, Today we're going to be talking about bringing tech into the gymnasium and how we can harness and use the connective powers of tech to join or grow our practices as educators. Once again, my name's Steve Buller. I go by he, him, his, and wanted to provide acknowledgement that we are on traditional territory of Lenni Lenape people. So these are little things that you can do to kind of acknowledge your acceptance and inclusivity in your classes, and just something to think about as we teach a very wide and diverse population of students. But here we go. Oh, if you didn't notice, to represent what we've gone through, I put the dumpster fire in the background because I think that speaks very true to our experiences over the last 2 years. So we're all here cool because, we're in education. We're just used to it. This is normal. Not good, but normal. Just to keep it real, norms, keep them short and sweet. I would love for people to be mindful. So what that means with your mute button, we've all been through this. We all know how to handle that. Be mindful of things that you say or the chat box. It's just, showing respect on that level. Be present. If you're able to stay engaged, amazing. If you feel like you can't, get up, walk around, move, come back. All of us are used to moving all the time, so sitting down for hours on end is not helpful to us. I know this drives me crazy. So if you get up and move, I'm totally cool with that. Be responsible. All that means ask questions, engage, and participate. That's what I'm looking for, responsibility, because we are educators and we're trying to learn from one another and grow. Be a problem solver. Sometimes I'm going to propose problems or things that you might think might be problematic. Well, yeah, we all teach in a little bit different of a context, and I would like you to have the mindset of how could you solve that problem within your school, because the reality is that's all we do all the time, and I know it is very stressful, but I want you to be focused on understanding that I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you some ideas and how it might work for you, or it might solve some other problems in your context. I thought this was perfect. This one popped up randomly on the internet, and this reminded me about what a lot of physical educators do, and sometimes it gets conflated for being a coach. But the thing that both have in common is your relationships with other people. It's Education is student centered. It's learning is centered only when relationships are the center portion of what you do. So I want you to be mindful. We're rebuilding those relationships. I know many of us already have amazing relationships, but trying to stay focused on understanding that students are coming back. And I know you heard this time and time again. We're all coming back after a very wild last 2 years. All right, PD. This year I'll be Shape President's P or Shape Shape Phillies president, and I had a colleague who does some cool stuff. He's of Palo Sports. Yeah, he'll probably try to sell you some stuff, but this was actually a cool activity that I was introduced to just a few months ago called Brain Ball, and he's going to be exploring that topic tomorrow at 4:30 at my school. We're going to do it outside. Weather should be good. It shouldn't be too hot. It should be nice and cool and windy, so it should be perfect for that. It will be offered virtual and in person, so it's hybrid. So it's your choice. I would love for people to show up because it's going to make it more meaningful to engage and easier to do. But you can register. I just put the link in the chat. All right. I like to introduce different resources because I think that's what this should be. Whenever we introduce a PD, it should be giving you resources and you get to pick the stuff that you want to engage with because that's the thing that relates to you. That's how life works. The PE Geek, he does an amazing job with technology and shows you different ways that you can use it in class. I definitely recommend checking out his website. Oh no. Hold on. I'm on my little computer. Oh. Up here on the upper left-hand corner, I have my laser pointer. is a colleague and friend. He started a podcast a couple of years ago called Playing with Research in Health and PE, where he takes research from academics and then breaks it down and how it could look within schools, and he'll bring in teachers. That's a great resource as well. On the bottom right, if you remember Voxer when that first came out, and that was like cool, where you had like your walkie-talkie on your phone, check that out. They have a fantastic group in there that's willing to help and discuss topics. And then on the upper right-hand corner is a podcast that was a kind of a collaboration between New Jersey Shape and Shape Philly, where myself and a colleague started having discussions about what identity is, so that people can have a greater understanding of what those topic areas are and how to apply them within their class, or just have a greater understanding of people's experiences in the world. All right, here's the agenda. We're going to review an objective. I'm going to quickly cover Mostyn and Ashworth's teaching styles, because I think that's a good way for us to reflect on how we're teaching and if we're stuck in the same thing that we do every year, or if we're experimenting, or if we're trying for growth. Tech tools. We're going to look at different tools for assessment, engagement, and organization. You'll see that a lot of them are actually pretty similar, which is a good thing, because then it means you're not introducing too many different pieces to students. We'll have breakout groups where I'll take a moment to create groups for different things. We'll do like an elementary, middle school, high school, and then you get to pick like where you'll have a discussion of different tech tools. We'll do a share out if any group would like to share out or any ideas they came up with. And then we'll finish with some questions and thoughts, and then give you a little bit of time before the next one. Yes, I'll actually do that right now, Trish. I forgot to copy and paste that. Copy link. Here is presentation. That is open for you to view. Feel free to click on anything that you would like. I try to keep as many active links in there as possible, so it's like a live document that you can use and kind of check out what's going on. Let's get out of that. Boom. All right, today's objective. Basically, you're going to devise ways to implement tech tools through critiquing and examining how tech tools can be introduced into your own spaces, curriculums, and teaching styles. So once again, this is about best fit. This is not me telling you what to use or what not to use. It's just something for you to think about. How can you use tech tools to make your life easier? What we're going to introduce, we're going to introduce you to some tech tools, and then I'll show you how they might work or could be used. Why? We've all just went through an experience where we're using computers for like 2 years straight. So there are some pros to using computers and using that technology and maintaining that use. There are also cons, which we all know. And just how can you infuse that without overusing it or totally just leaving it out the door? How we're going to do that, we're going to explore those free tools, we're going to collaborate, and we're going to evaluate tech tools that would be used for your spaces. So once again, this is just you figuring out what works for your situation. Sorry, it's been long-winded, I know. I'm sure many of you know what Mostyn's and Ashworth's teaching styles are, but there's a breakdown of what it is instead of having, break down a full article. The physical educator does a phenomenal job with different graphics and such, which is linked in the slideshow as well. But teaching styles are basically grouped from teacher-centered to student-centered, and it's a spectrum. So basically the concept is to introduce different ways that physical educators teach students in their context, but it also allows for teachers to become more aware of how they teach and how they can get out of the same monotonous routine, or maybe make changes or have new experiences. So the classic style A is command, so that's like drill instructor. and then that moves the whole way to an inclusive style where there's different differentiated tasks, there's different levels. So style A is completely on the teacher, they control everything. And then as you move down the spectrum, it becomes more student focused, where the student's doing more of the work and the teacher's just setting up more of an environment. So the two that popped in for me, styles that I typically try are practice style. I'll be honest, I'm usually farther on this side, just because I'm trying to relearn how to teach elementary, because I was high school prior to this. I'm trying to work towards an inclusive style more consistently, because I know so many students are different levels. So just use this as a moment to reflect. Like, how do you teach? Like, what style represents you? Is there a style you want to try? Are there styles that you think you should add? Same concept. Student-centered, or sorry, it's still more teacher-centric at F, but it's still more student-centered as you go down the alphabet until you hit K, where it's almost completely student-centered, where they're doing all of the setup of how they learn, which would be amazing, but realistically, that is very, very, very hard to do. Out of these, I like divergent production. I use that a lot at the high school level. I found a lot of success and a lot of engagement with that. Self-teach would be amazing to do. I'm years away from being an expert to teach that. But here we go. Here's the tech part. We're moving. All right, here are some tools for assessment that you could use that I've kind of pieced together or used over the years. Plickers, Seesaw, Image Flip, Vocaroo, Google Slides, Powtoon, KineMaster, Delayed Camera. And then if you look at organization, a lot of them kind of are the same, as well as engagement, except for engagement. There was another one that I found out about recently called Google Cardboard, which is really an interesting concept and idea that could be added. Or for engagement, Anatomy U. There are tons of anatomy apps out there that you can use on iPhones, iPads, computers, that give like a very realistic 3D representation of how the body works. And today I'm just going to briefly cover a few, and then we're going to move on from there. So those tools, I'm going to show you Plickers, give you resources for Plickers, Seesaw, Image Flip, Vocaroo, Google Slides, plus Bitmoji. So if you were in my PD this past year, we covered Bitmoji and how you could use that, and Google Cardboard. So I picked these because they're all free. You can use every single one for free except for Google Cardboard, because you have to buy the goggle device, and you would have to have the tech for it. So outside of that, all these are free. Plickers, what it is, it's a visual code. If I had my camera working, I would show you how I have it set up at my school, but I didn't think my camera was not going to work today, but different story. So Plickers are like a QR code that you can assign to students based on numbers, and then you can actually have for free on their website class rosters. So it would be like a quick way to do check-ins, check-outs. You could do assessments with it. There are a million different uses for it. You can print them out. You don't have to buy the cards, so you can print out your own set, which is nice.
Steve,
what's up?
I had mine on, I use Plickers, and I had mine on the little 3x3 magnets, so that they can just stick them on their number, and I can easily scan it and check for anything I'm asking them that day.
Yeah. Plagnets, I think that's what they call them. Those are amazing. They're quick, easy. Students can put them up on a board. I have a video for that then, but that's a perfect setup. So this is what they look like. You can print them out, but you're probably going to have to laminate them because it's just regular paper. But they do sell the cards. I think they're like 20 or 30 bucks on Amazon.
Excuse me. So what do you guys use that for? Like assessment? Or, I mean, it sounds fantastic. Can you just explain a little bit more? I mean, you might be doing that right now, but.
So let's
Thanks.
say you have students walking in, right? And Mr. Sturgis says he uses the plagnets, which are, I wish I had my camera on, then I'd be able to physically show you, but they're a QR code. And at the top of each, or on each side of the block, there's like a letter. So it's like A, B, C, D. The way it works is if you want to put the answer A, you have to make sure A is at the top, and then you would put it visible to a camera. So for example, say students walk in and you have like zones of regulation. We'll just say like on one side it's I'm feeling horrible, and on one side it's I feel amazing. They would go in, put their plagnet under that category, and the teacher could take a quick little picture, and then that's stuff that they could store, and they could kind of track things like what are the check-ins, like are there students that tend to be more down and stuff like that.
This is what they look like.
Hey, Steve, can I share my screen?
Yeah. Hold on, I just got to make some changes real quick.
Thanks, guys. I didn't mean to, I didn't want to interrupt your whole, but I just wanted to learn about all this too. So appreciate it.
Okay. Oh, here we go. There's stop share. Yeah, if you want to share it out real quick.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Mr. Sturgis.
Sorry about that. So these are what mine look like. These are mounted on the plagnets by stickers. And so I can ask them many different questions with this. I can ask them an assessment question that I put up on my wall with using my projector. So if it can be a 1, 2, 3, 4 or a B, C, D with your questions. And then they just have to make sure that they turn the magnet with whatever their answer is facing up. Then I can ask them how their participation level was, or how they thought they did with the skill by using like not yet, almost, got it, and wow. So it's kind of I use that as a self-assessment, or maybe their mood for the day, all different random things. But so I have a set that I just printed, and I mean it goes up to, you can see I stopped at like, I think I stopped at like 35 or something. But I bought my little magnets on Amazon, and the stickers work perfectly on them. They fit right within the square.
That would be an exemplar model of how to do that. That is
Thank
perfect. You. It has multiple different ways to assess on it. I think I'm going to steal that. So, Mr. Sturge, if you don't mind, you could share that in the chat if that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Give some other people some ideas.
That'd be great. Thank you so much, guys.
And I'm totally cool with that style. I like that in like presentations. If there's something that you want to say or introduce, or there's like an idea that you've used, totally interrupt me. I'm very relaxed with that. So thank you, Mr. Sturgis. I've also added how he kind of did the Plickers magnets, which now I'm going to message Mike Ginicola and be like, yo, there's another one that's even better than yours, man. This one's awesome. But his link is in here, the Phys Ed Depot. He has hundreds, thousands of different resources that you can use. He loves tech. He loves using Plickers. He has other stuff with that as well.
I think I bought mine somewhere on either, it might have been him or somebody else. I don't know if it was Pete Charette or somebody I got it from.
There are a ton. There's like at least a dozen that I usually reference back to if I need more ideas. But the next one is Seesaw. This is free. I use this for health classes a lot of the times because it works like you can make it an accessible worksheet for kids, whereas normally if you use Google Slides or something like that, that might be very difficult for kids K to 5. They might not have been introduced to that. So I like Seesaw for that purpose. And they can demonstrate what they learn. They can write it out. They can use their finger on the Chromebook. They could type it out. They could verbalize it. They could demonstrate it. All of that is in one. It's basically like an interactive social media, and it is approved by the district. It's on that list as well. It's free. Like, it's simple, it's easy. It connects automatically to Google Classroom, so kids can automatically be invited. So it's very simple. It's easy to upload. You just have to get your students used to using it, which, you know, that's the normal with anything. I definitely replaced my worksheets. This one was from the physicaleducator.com. I believe that's Joey Faith. He has a lot of amazing different ideas, but this is a mix and match idea where he created all these little tiles and you had to match it on moving with your feet. So like I can't really read it right now because I'm on a personal computer or my personal laptop, not my desktop. This was a much clearer image on my other computer. But once again, links are in here. Seesaw is a great way. Mix and match. It saves you time with paper. You don't have to cut things out. You don't have to worry about things being all over the floor. It's something quick and easy that you could use on a Chromebook, an iPad, which at this point, since the district has so many Chromebooks, in theory, every classroom should have them at this point, but I'm not in charge of that. Any thoughts on Seesaw? Anybody actually use it before? I see Mr. Sturgis nodding. Image flip. This is actually one of my favorite things that I want to start adding as a way to incentivize certain behaviors in class and encourage students to participate fully and demonstrate our class norms. So image flip allows you to create your own GIF, which is like that mini video picture that you see that runs on repeat. You can personalize presentations, you can personalize activities. Why? Increases engagement. If you had, which you have to technically make sure you have kids signed off for it with the district and your school because you'd be taking a video of a student, but you can essentially create little GIFs of the student moving, and then you could have your students seeing each other up on the board if you have a projector or smart board in class on like how to do a skill or demonstrating something, and it's just on repeat. So you don't have to go back and then say or demonstrate how to do an activity. It's just a way to have another visual cue on the board. And this is an example of a GIF, that smooth slide. And with the GIF, there are GIFs. So this link in here goes to chromebookhealthandpe.net, which is ran by Becky and Mark Fulmer. They have a GIF library of hundreds, if not thousands, of different activities and images that you could just take, post into a slideshow, just like I did with this one. Like I said, I plan on trying to use it as more of like a reward where students can kind of be the experts can demonstrate the skill, and then it goes up on the board. So if we go back to that activity, they're one of the people that demonstrate it virtually. I would love to go into the nitty gritty on how to. What is that doing? Doesn't like me. But this is an example that you could use for like partner practice. You could put a bunch of different GIFs up on the board so you don't have to sit there and explain every single skill, where you can say, all right, pick a GIF, practice it, try as many reps as you can before the timer runs out. I have a timer set up. That's just one example. This isn't an exemplar example by any means. This is just something quick and easy to demonstrate how it could be used, where you have more time to maybe engage with students, maybe challenge other students that are maximizing on this or helping students that might need help with a skill. So it's less time you re-explaining what to do. It gives them a visual where they can take that ownership and kind of do it on their own. There's also a tutorial. So YouTube is amazing. So I attached a quick, easy tutorial that shows you how to take pictures and turn them into a GIF, where you could have on repeat your class norms, and you could have like each picture a norm, and you could base it like a mini slideshow that runs on repeat forever. And you could have those like within slideshows for class, or you can make your own, like the baseball player slide. Vocaroo. This is interesting because not every computer will have GarageBand or some ability to record your voice. And I think this would be an amazing tool for unique assessments or engaging or different engaging activities. Why? It's a quick, easy way for students to express themselves, and they don't have to speak in front of the class. So for some students who may not have that opportunity to speak in front of the class because we can't always listen to every single student, this can give them a chance to kind of demonstrate what they know. It can be for differentiated assessments. I thought it would be a very interesting idea if you could have students create essentially their own podcast. And then the way you can do this is you can keep it kind of private within your own network, using like Google Docs or something, and then form it together of basically a podcast without all the extra tech that you might need with Anchor, which also has some security issues because you're just asking students to record online and other stuff. But this is a way to kind of keep that secure and easy. It's also approved by the district. Like I said, I'm thinking this would be a great idea for some health classes to have students maybe create their own podcast on certain topics. You could do different formative assessments on there, check-ins as well. Once again, that one will require more practice and more time, so it's not something that I would use in the gymnasium per se for phys ed, but I might use it for health class on like some very important topics where maybe we want to create a class database on Google Slides of, I don't know, topic area of, I don't know, nutrition and how nutrition impacts people. Just an idea. We're not going to listen to that video because it's like 7 minutes. I'm not going to torture you. Google Slides, we all use it every day, so why not use it for worksheets? Some people, it's still a new idea to them, but I try to use Google Slides as a worksheet where you can introduce the background picture that cannot be moved, cannot be deleted as a worksheet. Presentations, I use it for organization for myself. I started to do planning in there because it keeps it digital, and then I can instantly transfer it so it's not a piece of, or like a binder. And a perk that I thought of is it's easier then to distribute that to community members who now have Chromebooks at home. So if you want to have community involvement in your curriculum or what you're doing, you can always send stuff out and ask for opinions, thoughts, and have the community engage with it. So once again, pretty simple stuff. This is an example. This is a living document. I'm trying to make different changes to how I teach, and this is like growth pattern towards something that I would like to do. So it's something that I'm editing for this year. It's not actually fully realized because I haven't had a chance to contact the community yet. So this is under construction right now, but that's an example of how you would use it. And if you would like the link to get a document like this that's blank, I can definitely provide that. I'll put that in the chat box before we end. This is one of my favorites from this year. If you notice that there was an explosion of different YouTube videos for different activities, KineMaster was behind that. And this is a video that'll take you through how to use that. You basically need a green screen, and you can create your own virtual activities and games. There are two that I really love from Mr. Blizwick. He's a teacher outside of Pittsburgh, and then Bowman PE. He has like his own video game library. And the cool thing is with this is you could actually have students help create games. So this is free. You can use it. Students could help you come up with a game for class that might be able to be performed virtually if we get back to that. So those are always thoughts of like you be able to create something more engaging and thoughtful to your students and personalize it. Oh, so Derek Liswick, he has a whole how to create a video. He goes through the whole process. I feel like he's one of those people that's now sponsored by KinMaster. These are just some game examples. This one kids love. It's called Laser Wars.
Welcome to Laser Wars, where your job is to avoid the lasers. You're going to be jumping over them, ducking under them, moving right, moving left, and also blocking them. There are 3 levels. Each level gets harder as you go. You ready? Let's go.
Pretty simple concept.
Level 1, start.
But you get to create like a game. So it could be like a quick little warm-up activity. Or that's just a quick little example. Uh-oh. There we go. The other one, Bowman PE. This one's actually one of my favorites. He goes through and it's like a whole story.
5, 4, 3, 2,
This is called Level Up. My kids absolutely love Level Up. We would do that as a quick little warm-up activity after check-ins. But it turns into this funny interactive experience where he has his own kids in it. It's kind of cool. And he has an entire web page too that has numerous games that he's created.
I'm preparing to explore space.
Takes time. Not all of us have time. This is why we have wonderful people making stuff.
Elijah, are you seeing this? Copy, I see it. This is not good. This is not good.
Oh, there we go. It's a quick, easy way to put different directions in, practice different skills like levels. This is kind of how it works. I was actually shocked the level of engagement with it, but it is kind of cool. It's basically like you're playing the video game.
The development flight instrumentation recorders are on. We're just second. Development flight instrumentation recorders. We're just 2 seconds.
Still haven't mastered that, but there are direct links in the slides for that as well. Google Cardboard was interesting because we could look at different environments throughout the world, and you could essentially create problem scenarios where students have to figure out problem or come up with solutions on how people might be able to move in different spaces or how people might be prevented from moving in those spaces. So you could talk about equity and inclusion within this as well. It gives students a different thought or feeling on how movement or physical education does apply throughout life and where we move and how we experience what we're around. A little bit high tech, but it's kind of a cool concept. Let's see if I can.
Things that make we're immersed in the experience and more immersed in the story. But we're still putting something between you
right here.
and the
That's what Google Cardboard looks like. It's basically just a piece of cardboard with lenses. I think they're like 15 or 20 bucks online, but that's something that you would have to have the resources and the tech for. But there's some utility in it, and it would be very interesting to see how somebody could use that for exploring maybe social justice issues and movement, or even just exposing students to different environments that you may not have the time to take a field trip to. Something cool. maybe not useful, but this is a VR experience with a spaceship. So that could be like a concept of like why do people move differently outside of the Earth's atmosphere than they do in it. All right, I talked a lot. And I want to give you time to kind of explore those areas and concepts within groups. And then after that, we'll have some share out, questions, thoughts, and we'll just kind of work together if this was useful, not useful, things that you might use. And it's just kind of for you to figure out what works, what doesn't work. So I have to figure out on my tiny monitor how to do this. Just give me a moment. All right. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to pick a breakout room of your choice. And they're just based on the different tech that I introduced to. And I would love for you to greet each other and then discuss how you might use that tech. If it's something that you think is not useful at all, that's fine. Be honest, not really mad. Just give me 2 minutes to set up the breakout rooms. They did not save over. I gotta exit out of that so I can remember. And the bonuses, I'm going to leave the rooms open so you can kind of jump into the rooms that you would like. So once again, you do not have to stay in that room. You can move around. Definitely feel free to share how you used tech or didn't use tech, your experiences with it, pros, cons, things that you might want to do, things that people shouldn't do. Totally up to you. Questions, thoughts before I open up the rooms? All right, you should get a pop-up. I'll run this breakout room for about, let's see, how much time do we have left? About 10, 15 minutes. And then we'll come back, we'll do a quick breakout, and then you'll have at least 5 minutes to get to the next PD.
Steve, while we're doing this, I don't know if you already did it. Can you put the attendance sheet in there? Can you do that from your phone?
Let's see if I can find it real quick.
Okay, thank you. A good way to look for this, or an easier way to look for this one, is if, I think it's still sharing my screen, send yourself a copy and you can always go back to your email and click the link and it'll open up a new one. But I'll put attendance link. Melanie, I think all of those links are the same. I think they're just using the same on repeat.
Oh, there will be a form for each session you attend. I lied. I'll go back and see if there's another email, but I do not recall seeing an email. There was supposed to be a facilitator, and I know there was something happened. Stop share. It's not in.
Steve, quick question.
Yes.
We were told yesterday the school district is leaving Google Classroom and we're going to transfer to campus. Do you have any information on the timeline of that? And maybe that'll be a future training for implications for health and phys ed.
Could you repeat that one more time?
Sure. We were told that the district is leaving Google Classroom and will be going to use campus exclusively. Do you have any information on the timeline when that's going to happen? And maybe you'll be able to do a training related to health and phys ed for that platform?
I have not heard anything on that. I can't speak for anybody on district level, but just because I'm a regular old teacher, just like everybody here. I think that would be a horrible move if we just got rid of Google Classroom completely, but
Totally agree.
it wouldn't surprise me. I will not go much deeper. But if I hear anything, I usually say something, but I haven't heard anything yet.
Thank you.
Hey, Steve.
Yes.
So I was in the other breakout room, and the question is the attendance form. Is that the, because it's the same exact title as the one in the morning. Are we still filling it out?
That's the only one that I know of. I didn't get any that I've seen yet.
Okay.
So there was supposed to be a facilitator in here, and I don't know if that actually happened, and they were supposed to be recording and then giving out that stuff. So I'm looking at my emails to see if there might have been something I missed, but I don't see anything. I mean, either way, I can send a document to Nancy proving who is here.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you post that attendance again in the chat?
I posted the same one that was in Nancy's because that's the only one that I could find.
Could you put it up again? I don't see it.
Yeah.
It has the same title, but I mean, I don't know if the date of the time would come off. So, I mean, hopefully it should count for it.
Correct. case scenario, I'm just gonna send her. Well, it's recorded. 1, 2. I can send a document with everybody's login.
That sounds good. Thanks.
I just don't understand why it is the way it is right now, but that's a good point. You could just type in which session you were in.
Hi, good morning. While you're doing that, Steve, can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Hi, I'm Terry. I'm at Ben Franklin High School. So I have a question. So this is my second year. So anybody have any suggestions on best ways to implement the technology?
Ooh.
So like I'm just trying to figure out like how am I going to go about, like I want to do, like what's the best way to implement? It's like at the end or during middle, or like anybody got any suggestions? Because now we're going to be inside the gymnasium.
It is different. I think experience-wise, from the times that I've used it, using it slowly and for little things and then increasing the cognitive load on it over time helps. So I think the 1 year, I got excited because I finally got my clickers, and then first thing I did was run out and like, yo, I could just see what kids know in the moment, and then realize that was really stupid because they weren't familiar with it yet. So there was a lot of lag time between getting accurate responses for just using it for small purposes and then working your way up. I know I had it set up on a wall where students had their numbers next to it. I had them like a clickers, like pocket square thing. There are many different ways. I'm not an expert at using the clickers yet because, well, I'm out of school for the last 2 years, so I don't even really haven't used it for 2 years, so I don't even know how to explain. But if there's somebody else that has been using it, or any other tech.
Terry, what grade are you? What level are you?
High school.
Oh, high school, okay.
You know, it would really be cool if we got mobile smart boards for the gymnasiums.
I've been bugging my principal for that, so I encourage you to do it.
Oh, that would be
We just had moved. We had ours moved down to the wheel one that we're having moved to the gym this year because we got so used to the warm-ups are great, like those level ups, I mean, elementary. I've been pressing for it because the kids are so engaged for a change that I think it's a great way to get them going. As soon as they come into the gym, they love those activities. So I want to start with that, and that will get them moving right away, hopefully.
And it puts less strain on you. How many of these gyms in here are not the most acoustically sound where you're straining your voice? Like, it's a good thing to save your voice over a period of time where it's just that routine. They can come in, they understand what's going on, and I would hope, I don't have any, yeah, I got wood. Knocking on wood that I actually get mine in the next week. Or I'm gonna have to figure out how to reattach this old projector that's filled in dust and I don't know what else, mouse poop or something.
Yeah, I don't understand why we're always last to get the technology. I mean, I'm still using an Epson projector. I mean, come on, man. You know what I mean? It's like working on a cave wall.
Yes. And then you have to have the setup where you have to have stuff around it. And it's like a hazard. No bueno. You don't even have a smart board in your health room yet?
Do have one in the health room. Like when we do complex stuff in gym, I run through it during health, but I don't want to spend my health time running through what I'm going to do in gym. You know what I mean? Like health's health, gym's gym. We should have smart boards. We're professionals too, you know?
Correct. I'm going to end those breakout rooms in a couple minutes, or actually, I'm going to end it. So we have
time before. I'll give it a 2-minute warning. Is that the general, I guess, experience for most people, that you just don't have the school providing you with the tech?
You know, for health, I think everybody kind of either goes into a room or has a health room, and I would hope that they have a smart board. But I'd say 95% of us in here right now do not have smart boards in the gym, unless they are really, really fortunate people. I wish that was you.
I wish it was all of us.
But it seems like when the technology gets old, it's kind of like, oh, well, we have some old stuff now. We can give that to the phys ed department, you know, like when it's like 100 years old and it's like, oh my God, I got an Epson projector for the wall, you know? I remember when I first got an Epson projector, I thought it was like the hottest thing, you know?
One day.
But they have those movable, you know, mobile smart boards. You know, they've been bringing new smart boards, and now the smart boards are getting old, and they're starting to bring new smart boards in, you know? So maybe we'll get our hands on some of the old stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, talk to your principal, tech person. He said there were extra smart boards. We'll see. They were very useful to use when we were in person for that short period of time, but
you know, it drives me crazy. Some teachers, I mean, some people were up on tech and some people weren't. I know some teachers that don't even use their smart board. I went in there and I said, hey, you mind if I use your smart board? He goes, yeah, it's not even set up though. I don't even use it. I'm like, I want to rip this thing off the wall and bring it down to the gym with me.
that is another thing that does happen as well. All right, breakout rooms are going to slowly start to end. This is totally open-ended. I'm not asking or forcing anybody to share out, just kind of leaving it out there.
Sorry, Steve. Terry, was your question answered?
Sort of, but I'm just trying to write down some stuff that I see in the chat box. But thank you for coming back. I'm just trying I'm just trying to get ideas of what I could do to incorporate the technology, but also make it interesting and engaging where it'll capture their attention and it'll get them wanting to continue to go on with the activities for PE.
Yeah, I don't know what your specific situation is, but I think the easiest thing for me, especially because Steve obviously said, this is a lot of stuff, right? Is really just picking one thing like per year and just not overwhelming yourself, right? Even if it's just like using one thing for one unit, like for an assessment. I found that that's the easiest and most effective way to start implementing technology, is really just picking, like, instead of having instead of them doing a regular paper assessment, you try and just transfer that over onto the computers. And I think this year, especially with kids being more and more used to the Google Classroom and whatnot, it's really just pick whatever thing you thought would be the most effective for your units, and just pick one unit and just start there, right? And not try and overwhelm yourself.
That's spot on.
Good. Thank you. That's very helpful. So being as though, I just have to see, what are the typical, well, I'm not saying typical, but on the assessments, it'll be just the questions. Shall I do the assessments at the end of the class, or maybe once a week, or what? Or just wait till do one in the beginning, like a pre-assessment, and then do a post-assessment?
Yeah, I mean, some people use the technology for like their fitness assessments. Like if you're lucky enough to be able to take out your iPads. And so what I'll do is I'll have the kids input their own data for the fitness assessments. And last year was a lot easier, as the kids get more and more technology. You can work it out with the teachers where as a group, they might be bringing, one Google Chromebook with them to the classroom, right? And so in a group of 2, 3, 4, as a group, they're kind of testing each other. And then if you have that at the beginning of the year and the end of the year, or at the beginning of the unit and the end of the unit, and it just starts to build. Now I have elementary, so it really just depends on your situation, but it's trying to figure out what technology exists in your building, and seeing how you can kind of transfer that over, especially now that every kid has a Chromebook. There's a lot more opportunity to use that.
Once again, spot on. I wish we had more time to like work one-on-one or in small groups and really kind of think how it would work in your context. But sadly, the way that the PDs are structured, we really don't have that time. It's just a lot of let's throw a bunch of information at you and hopefully something sticks and something's useful. I don't find that effective, but if there's any point in time anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Steve, I have a question. How difficult is it to get an app approved? Do you know?
Ooh, I had that somewhere in here. Oh, here's just last moment. Brainball PD tomorrow. I'll be there. So here's the process. I put this in at the end, so there are links for different stuff that you can go to immediately. But here's a list of approved apps, and then this is how you review an app for the district. So Nancy and I had a brief discussion about that. I think it would be very nice if we just started to do this on our own. So find an app that you think's useful, and then you have to go through this process. It seems painstaking, but if that's a way for us to get the things that we need and we can use and do what we want to do and, educate people, this can help. So I'm going to post that link in the chat.
I have an app that I've been using that's not on the list.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep. It's called Idocchio.
Okay.
It's a grade book. And it's the most, and you can export your data from the grade book straight into Google Classroom. Your assignments that you create in Idocchio go straight into Google Classroom.
Can you say it again? Idocchio?
Idocchio. IDOCEO.
Thank you.
You can import your classes. It's.
Uh-oh. Did I spell it right?
No, IDOCEO.
IDO. Okay.
Nice. So one thing I like about PDs is sometimes you learn stuff from some other people.
Okay.
I'm gonna work on that.
I gotta roll.
Yeah, you can roll out. I'm gonna open up the next one. Once again, feel free to reach out. My email inbox is always open.
Thanks, Steve.
All right.
Thanks, Steve.
Take care. Oh yeah, you can't see me waving.
Thank you.
Stop share. One. All right, end button.
I have a question, Steve. Is it okay that the attendance link is the same as the first one?
I will be sure to send a link of everybody that attended. They never gave me a link. There was supposed to be a facilitator, but if there's no facilitator here, I wasn't given.
Thank you.